Cool. So we just got a quick little agenda on here. We're going to be talking about upside, introduce ourselves, and allow someone from the group to introduce yourself, as we always do. Talk about what we got planned for the week, and if we got time, we'll underwrite a deal, Q&A. If you guys have a deal you want us to take a look at and plug in, feel free to message either Aldo or myself. Would also help if I put my name on here, but you guys will shortly find out who I am. Like I said, my name is Edward Shamirian, based out of the lovely Los Angeles, California, Aldo's favorite place in the world.
Ooh.
One day I'll convert you guys. We got a few Cali people in here, which is awesome. But yeah, I've been in real estate for a couple years now. Been in multifamily, not as long, but a good amount of time.
Uh-oh. Yeah, lose everybody. I think we lost Ed. Yep, everybody else is moving. Okay, I thought I was the one that got lost. All right, we lost Ed. Hey, so that's Ed. That's what you get for living out in LA. So I guess we'll see him back here pretty soon. Anyway, so that's Ed. He's been doing all that stuff he said he was doing. He's been in real estate, etc. And he's an underwriting guru as well. And we do this call together every Tuesday. And also we have myself, Aldo and and Will Otis, who is unable to join us tonight. We're the Stoic Boys. We founded Stoic Holding Solutions about a year ago now. And we've been ride or die partners for the last, just over a decade now, since college. And so, we are senior living executives, and we've been in the senior living industry for, combined about 25 years almost together, and anything from operations to asset management. And so we like, there's a lot of correlation to the real estate industry. And so there's a lot of real estate that we know and do in the senior industry. And so we're taking that and we're applying that to the multifamily industry ourselves. And so, but we're also interested in the senior living realm. In fact, we put in an offer for a 144 unit independent living in our area, and we're working out some of those details. And so, Pete, I think I do. Yeah, it should be in my email. I don't automatically delete all of your emails. So I think that one survived. So yeah, we'll take a look at that. If nobody has a deal they want to throw on there, we'll definitely underwrite that one. So anyway, so that's who we are. And looks like Ed lost his internet, so I'm sure he'll be on at some point. With that said, let's meet you. This is an opportunity not just to kind of present yourself, but also to let other people know who you are and what you do. This is a place for you to connect and network and find individuals that are like-minded and also can be a complement to you and your strengths and weaknesses. And so please, I would like to hear from one of you. Tell us who you are, where you're from, and what you do. So Brian, go for it.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
What's up?
So as of like a couple of weeks ago, I've decided that my niche is going to be multifamily. I've been in single family for, I think I got my first house when I was 22 accidentally, and it turned out to be all right. I've got 4 or 5 others between here, Memphis. I sold the one in Memphis, got 4 in Atlanta, sold my cabin in Atlanta, and just what everyone says that's in multifamily. Your vacancies they kill you. I had a short-term rental that killed me, so I was getting out of it. And then what's really selling me is the fact that we're going to be taking down wells now. The vacancies don't hurt as much. I like the bigger, I like the better I like the fact that it's a lot more team oriented.
Mhm.
So I have a really good foundation on real estate, although I know there's multifamily nuances that I got to get down.
For sure.
Looking to join a team. I've been in construction since I was 18. I'm a project manager here in LA. I manage healthcare and education projects. So got a great background in that. I can use Excel and Word, and I can talk like a professional. So anybody needs those kind of things. I can crunch numbers. I can sell work. Just I got to find some sort of mentor, some sort of accountability partner, with the W-2 that's salary. It could be 40, 50, 60 hours a week. So I need someone to kind of, not a babysitter, but someone that's, hey, you need to do this now, and looking to bring value ultimately to someone else that will see value in keeping me. So that's where I am.
Awesome, Brian. Hey, welcome, first of all, and you're in the right place for all of that, man. This is a group of most of us are professionals that still have a W-2, myself included. And, we have found power in numbers. Yeah, Ed doesn't. He's lazy. But we have found power in numbers, and there's definitely a lot of accountability and a lot of really great programs that, have come out of this community. So, hey, feel free to put in your information in the chat, your number, your email, and where you're from, and all of that, so we can stay connected. And Ed, it would be good maybe to put that link down for kind of filling out. Well, your computer's dead, so never mind. You're muted, by the way. Can't hear you. So anyway, all that to say, Brian, welcome. Thanks for joining. You're in the right place, and hopefully we can provide the value that you're looking for, as well as benefit from the value that we're sure you're going to be able to bring. So.
Yeah, real quick, I got into Michael Blanc's underwriting syndicated deal analyzer, and I've been contemplating starting his mastermind thing. I think it's like $100 a month.
Yeah.
Any pros and cons to that?
Victor would probably know.
I can say my 2 piece on mentorship. Sorry guys, my internet just decided to stop working, and now I've switched to my iPad. So this is kind of what I'm working with right now. The mentorship, I think you can get into it too early. I do think it's a good way to meet other people and network with people. But also you want to make sure that you know what you're in there looking for. Like, hey, I'm gonna go in here and find the people who complement what I'm good at and build a team. Cool. You have an objective. You know how to gauge if it's working or not. Because I think one mistake people make, especially on a reoccurring monthly mentorship that you're literally month to month paying and there's no real end to it, is you get in, you don't know what you're looking for, hoping you'll find the secret sauce or the magical equation or whatever that solves, like, makes you become a master at this. It doesn't work like that, as we all know. But you go in there expecting, like, hey, this is gonna solve all my problems, or I'm gonna be able to excel exponentially, and then you just keep looking for that. You're just paying into something, and you're not getting out of it, or you're not progressing towards anything specific that will allow you to scale. Mistake I made was I was in a mentorship and I was paying month to month, and I didn't know what my goal was. Like, so yeah, I want to do deals, but I was in it with another person, and it just didn't, like, we just kept going on the hamster wheel and didn't work out. Like, we were just putting money into it, so we backed out. We had like that awareness where, okay, this isn't working because we don't have our base set. We don't know what we're trying to accomplish. I think there could be a right and wrong mentorship as well. So it is important to check as many as you can and talk to people who are in it and see what their thoughts are. Like, I still like the mentorship that I was part of. It's nothing against them. It just didn't fit me at the time. And so I think that's important too, is knowing really what you're looking for, and then making sure you capitalize that. Obviously, use these communities and these type of places where there is no charge up front. Meet as many people as you can. I found my Florida deal and met everyone on my Florida deal through this community. So to say it can't be done, I'm showing it can be. We're in escrow for 120 units in Florida. People in this community and people I've met through this community are all part of that deal. So that's my 2 cents on that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I
can totally see that, not having a focus. And really, with the multifamily knowledge I have, I don't know what to focus on. I don't know how to assess a market. I know what cap rates are, but to understand those in a more intimate way, so yeah, absolutely. I think my goal right now is just to solidify my base.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. You're in the right place. So everything we do here is free, and so we have also a YouTube channel with a lot of content around those basics. And so and you'll see here kind of what our mission and is here in this community. And so we have a lot of those resources for you if you want to tap into that. So yeah, you're in the right place, man. And I don't have an opinion on Michael Blanc's mentorship because I've not been in it, but I know several people in our community have. So feel free to jump on our Facebook if you haven't and join it, and ask that question on there, and you'll get somebody to answer it for you. So because there's people that have been in there. Now we have had Michael Blanc on our Sunday Zooms at least once, maybe even twice. And we do a lot of stuff with him. So he's a great guy, and I think that his mentorship could be helpful. I've just not been through it myself. So
I was recommended that from Andrea.
Yeah, then if Andrew's recommending that, yeah, I would absolutely go for that. So awesome. Well, great. Hey, nice to have you here again, Brian.
Real quick,
Yeah, go ahead.
I put my name number in the chat. Feel free to text me, Brian, or anyone else. Feel free to text me, and we can talk more offline as well.
Yeah, for sure. I'll take your name now. I'll text you right now.
Great. Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Sweet. And this is where we go over basically what we have to offer as a community. This is our journey for those in the community. And so there are basically three buckets that anyone could fit on there. Bucket number one, no thanks. This is great information. Thanks for the free education. It's just multifamily real estate is not for me. I'm gonna go chase freedom elsewhere. Great. We love you for that. Go find your freedom somewhere that fits your needs in current state. So, and then the next bucket is like, hey, look, I love all this education. I've been learning a lot. However, I do not feel like being an active investor or operator in real estate is for me. So what I'll do is I'll put up some capital, or maybe help raise some of that capital. But I still need to know more about real estate in order for me to make educated decisions on where I invest. And of course, the last one is, hey, I love all this and I want to be an active operator. I want to be in the weeds. I want to operate these things. So, hey, I'm ready for not just learning the basics here, which is what we offer for free, by the way. I'm also ready to take it the next step and join a paid mentorship, which we also have a paid mentorship program. Essentially, we've partnered with several programs that we have ourselves been a part of. But somebody in the Multifamily Freedom Chasers community has been a part of it, and we can vet them, and we recommend them. And so with that, we'll go into that. There's a little video from Trevor Walker telling us about this preferred partners program that we have. So listen up.
Multifamily Freedom Chasers family, I have exciting news for you all. We are launching our Preferred Partners program for the community. You as a community member, as a Freedom Chaser, have access to this right now for free. So what is the Preferred Partners program? It is a program designed when you are ready to accelerate your multifamily real estate journey. You are ready to invest in yourself, to level up your education and business building experience. This is the place to go. These are the partners and resources that we have invested into and we use hands-on that have helped us level up in our multifamily journey. So pretty cool. Our preferred partners that are part of this list, it continues to grow, but right now they have over $2 billion of assets under management. Super cool. High-level teams and high-level operating individuals. So let me walk you through this here really quickly. We have Gabe Bowling's real estate training, Mastering Multifamily with Vina Jetty with her educational vault, Rockstar Capital and Robert Martinez, they have several different educational options. If you need mindset and performance coaching, we got Keston Glasgow with Purpose Ways. The Mary Machine, website, funnels, marketing, everything you need there. Self-directed retirement services with Horizon Trust, CRM, an underwriting multifamily course with Ken Gee himself. And then if you don't have the funding, but you're ready to accelerate your multifamily journey and invest in yourself and invest in your business, we have DC Global Enterprises where you can get no interest funding to fund those type of investments. So take advantage of the Preferred Partners program of the Multifamily Freedom Chasers, and let's continue our chase for freedom together.
Awesome. So that is what we have to offer here from let me see here. Here we go. From a preferred partners standpoint. So now, with that said, this is our ecosystem. These are the different platforms and education that we offer. On Sundays, we have our activation Zoom, and this is with the original 3 Multifamily Freedom Chasers, the Freedom Boys, and they have many folks that come on that have been celebrities in this industry, and that have millions, hundreds of millions, almost billions of dollars in assets under management, including some of the folks that you saw in that vault, and then some. And then of course on Mondays you've got Pete and Ed, and they go over broker talks, basically how to talk to brokers and how to gain the confidence and understand the lingo as you communicate with them to be able to get deals well consistently, but also know what information to get from them in order to be able to underwrite them. And that is when you come to us and we talk to you about how to Napkin underwrite a deal, how to quickly ascertain whether it's a good deal or a bad deal before you take it into a more sophisticated analyzer like the Michael Blanc deal analyzer. And then of course we have on alternating Wednesdays 2 Zooms, one with the Miles family, which by the way is tomorrow. They'll be talking about the current state of the debt market, and then also how lenders underwrite deals. So that'd be a good one for you to attend. And then on the other Wednesdays, we have the Multifamily Foundation Zoom with the Armada REI group, and they just they go over several of the foundational things and concepts about multifamily real estate investing that would be really, really good for all of you to continue to learn. So with that, this is our contact information. And if you have any questions, feel free to send us an email. Also, our names and phone numbers are on our handles here. And you can reach us that way as well. We're here to support you in any way that we can. With that, we're going to start our topic today, and we're going to talk about upside. So one of the things that we talk about with our underwriting tool is the upside. It has a little bit, has a little calculation, a quick calculation for upside. And we want to talk to you about how the different ways that you can drive upside in a deal, right? And a lot of that takes place, some of that takes place right at the beginning on purchase, and some of it, takes place as you operate the deal and, increase its value that way. So, there are 4 major ways, I'd say 4 major ways, or the most simple ways to drive your upside on any deal or asset that you purchase. And we'll be going over those. So, first one is pricing. We'll be going over that. Then occupancy, basically driving occupancy. Then rate increases, and then a mix of all of them, or some of them, or a couple of them. So we'll get started with pricing. So how do you drive upside with pricing? Well, you buy it for less than what it's worth at the time, right? So you have some immediate upside right off the bat in the deal. And these can be found with a lot of patience and a lot of searching from a distressed seller, somebody that's got a floating rate, and there's a lot of those. I just recently saw an article that was saying that there were at least 39 loans out that were on the watch list. And this, of course, is giant, huge loans. And 29 of those were basically high alert essentially for this year, right? So meaning that, these were short-term loans that were taken, 2-3 years ago on a floating rate. And, ever since the rates have been going up, these people are just going crazy, going into their reserves to try to keep, the operations up of their assets. And so there's going to come a time where they're just going to either have to sell at a loss, or I don't know, refinance, or somehow, some way to not lose the asset, or cut their losses on that. So there's going to be a lot of those coming up here in the next several months, and something to kind of watch out for as well. I mean, you can find these at auctions. Sometimes, these folks just go all the way to auctions if they default on their loans, and aren't able to, get rid of the asset. The bank will take it back over and they'll auction it. And, you might be able to get a good deal that way. And then, of course, Ed's favorite topic of all time, direct to seller or owner financing. You start just knocking on doors of, local multifamily, asset owners, and you start talking to them and getting to know them and figure out if, they're ever wanting to get rid of their assets. And, some of them might, and they might give you great terms on owner financing, and you might be able to get, a much better deal for them, or, much better terms. And, that way you'll be able to, get some good upside on that, because typically, if it's a single person that owns, that owns an asset, it's probably, the rents are lower, or, there's other ways that you could increase the upside on that. So on the pricing side, you can get upside on the pricing side up front. The other plays through the occupancy, right? So you can purchase an asset, whether it's unstable or not semi-stable, unstable, which is, at least below 90%, or whatever the long-term occupancy average is for that market. Below that rate, so that you can drive your occupancy up to stabilization and maybe even more, and then have the value of the asset increase by way of just increasing occupancy. Because if your occupancy is low, it means your revenue is low, right? And if you increase your occupancy, your revenue increases, and thereby your NOI. And what drives the value of a multifamily asset, as we all know, is the net operating income by way of cap rate. So buying one that is distressed from an occupancy standpoint, maybe it's occupied at a 90% or so, but it has terrible collections, and its economic occupancy is, in the 70s or 80s. You have to, do some evictions, do some tenant turnover. The rents are low, and you're needing to just turn the occupancy and turn, operate it well, basically. And that's another way that you can drive your upside, by increasing occupancy. Like I said. So, and then another obvious way you can increase your upside is by increasing your rents. But it has to be by enough to where, the value increases, of course. So you can buy a stable or, semi-stable asset, but that it has low rents for some reason or another. And, some of that could be that, they're in a poorly maintained, it's poorly maintained, but it's in a good location, or the owner just, didn't really want to drive their rates because maybe they're sitting on a good loan, or they own it outright, or for whatever reason, they just keep the rent low. And, there's a significant gap between the current rents and the market rents, right? And something good about these as well is try to figure out if you can just significantly drive the rates right off the bat, without even turning, sometimes you can do that. If it's low enough, you can bring in, close to market. And then, as you implement your CapEx, strategy, you can then continue to increase your rents to market, or maybe above, based on, what you do with that. So, and then of course, when you do that, you can also say, your asset is in a B class area, but it's not so well maintained and it's sort of a C-class asset, you can basically, remodel it, for lack of a better term, and bring it up to a B class, and that way you can drive your rents. And so that's another way. Or you could try to find something in the sweet spot that is all of them together. You can get it for a lower price, based on poor management. Maybe it's in a good area, but it's, distressed. The asset itself is distressed. It's got low rents and lower occupancy than it needs to have. And then of course, a quick caveat on that, if it's too distressed or if it's too low on occupancy, your initial loan on that could be fairly high risk, just, basically a variable loan or a bridge loan or something with a high interest rate on that. So just kind of have that, or take that in mind, unless of course you do a seller finance deal. So anyway, you can combine several of these together to drive your upside in your business plan in the future. So add anything to add, any color to add to that? Oh yeah, yes. Well, Victor is right on it, man. That's an asset manager at heart right there. Don't forget to decrease expenses as well. Absolutely. Take a hard look at that rent roll and see if there's any, not rent roll, I'm sorry, your P&L, your profit and loss, and see if there's anything that you can reduce there from an expense standpoint. That'll always drive your NOI, because a penny saved is a penny earned. And when it comes to NOI, if you increase your revenue, $1 of increased revenue isn't always $1 to the bottom line, but $1 of saved expenses is $1 of increased NOI. So that goes much farther in many cases than revenue. So yeah, absolutely great point. I think Ed is frozen, so I'm just gonna keep going. He's surprisingly quiet, so I'm just gonna keep going. All right, so that brings us to the end of that. Any questions on any of those? It's pretty straightforward, but wondering if anybody has any questions around the upside conversation, and we'll kind of show you what that looks like. And I'm gonna pull up a deal here. And of course, if as I'm doing that, if anybody has a deal, that they might want to, throw into the Napkin underwriting, we'd be happy to do that as well. So you can kind of see how this works. All right, I'm gonna try to pull up the one from that Pete sent last week for us to look at and underwrite. All right. Okay. All right, sweet. Yeah, Brian, let's use yours. Okay, so for napkin underwriting, I don't know if you're familiar with the concept of napkin underwriting or not, but essentially we're putting in a few key metrics into a calculator, or even the back of a napkin, really, to try to figure out whether the deal is good or not. And you can do it several different ways, but you definitely need the average, where the average rents are, where the total units, what the occupancy is at right now, and of course the guidance price or the asking price. All right, see it here. It's saving, it's downloading. Foothill, okay. All right. No one steal my deal. Yeah, nobody steal Brian's deal, man.
I'm not really even sure that I want to be able to afford this.
This in LA?
What's that?
Is this in LA?
Yeah, it's the only thing that makes it appealing is it's like a quarter mile from me,
Oh,
so I
nice.
can manage it myself.
Yeah, Ed will steal your deal, man. So be careful.
Yeah, but I know where he lives now, so I just
Yeah, there you
wow.
go.
I him and I've been talking. I know he's my neighbor.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that.
Why don't we just take it down?
Hey, you're frozen, man. You're talking like a robot with a stroke.
Yeah, I can't do much.
All right, this thing is pulling up, but kind of slowly. So, would you happen to know, what the average rents are on here, Brian?
Yeah. If you have an email, I can forward it to you real quick.
It's just down. I mean, it's downloaded. It's just my computer being a little bit slow.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, let me pull this up and
Downloading it.
I will. Or if you want, I can share my screen real quick, and then you can fly through and you can grab all the numbers you want.
Yeah.
Oh, you got to allow me to.
I think I do. How do I do that? Let's see. Allow a co-host. All right, go for it. Oh, I think I got it actually. Average rents. Okay. All right. Sure, I don't know.
You got it up?
Yeah, I think I do. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna cancel this then.
Okay. I'll start sharing myself.
Can you guys hear me better now?
Yes.
Sweet. All right. So if we got the sharing figured out, did that work out?
Yeah, let's go. We're gonna put it in right now. So we have 22 units.
Where's this one at, Brian?
This is in Silmar.
Okay, nice.
All right, and 22 units occupied. Trying to find what the occupied units is on here. Here we go. Here's the rent roll. Looks like it's pretty much all occupied, and one of them is a manager.
Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, so it's 100% occupied. And the average rents, we're gonna figure that out here.
36,650 divided by 22. Average is 1665.
Is that it? Okay. We'll put it on here, and then I'll show you guys how to get that on this calculator too. 1665. Okay.
Yeah.
And what is the guidance price on this one?
I'm sorry, the guidance price?
Yeah, what they're asking for basically.
Oh, 5.7. I know it says 5.8 on the paper. They just did $100,000 drop.
Hey, where did you
The-
find it?
LoopNet. This was the first of my experiences as a multifamily guy, just goofing around on LoopNet, and oh, look at that, it's down the street from me. Talk to the broker. The lady owns it outright. She's an older.
nice.
There's two of them. If you look at the cover photo, there's two of the exact same buildings. They're owned by different people. The guy next to him doesn't take care of his building. She does. And this building actually looks in much better condition.
Nice.
How long has it been on the market?
Go say again.
How long has it been on the market?
Let me actually what I'll do is I'll let me find it on LumenNet and I can put the link.
Actually, I might even be able to pull it up on the MLS.
You want me to shoot you? Let me shoot you the address. 14,029. I don't know why I did that in 3 different text messages.
All good. All right. All right, as he's walking through that. So here's a couple inputs that I have in here. Obviously, average rents, 1665 there for everything together. 22 units, 100% occupied. Gonna give you a total income just on rents of 440,000 basically. We're looking at, what is this, a B class?
Probably. But that's with my limited knowledge of how they're classifying A, B, C, and D.
Does it look like junk, or is
No, it doesn't look like junk, but Sylmar is not an A-class neighborhood, not in this
Okay.
area of Sylmar.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm assuming a B.
Okay, and how old is the asset?
I think I saw it was built 87, but let me verify that.
Okay, yeah, 87 isn't
Oh yeah, 87.
okay. 87 isn't terrible. It isn't like a 60s building, so I mean that might be somewhere. It might be C plus B depending on the condition of the asset too. So I mean, regardless, we're gonna assume a 50% expense ratio on this. And what is it saying here? It's saying that it's currently around 40%. And I don't know if they're not paying for utilities, that's plausible. 40 to 45% expense ratio.
Although, real quick, the building class is C according to that.
Okay. C class.
Oh, I see it. Building class C. Yeah. So what is that? A 55% expense ratio?
I would keep it at 50%, but 55 is probably likely. Because sure, they're showing currently a 40% expense ratio. But as soon as you buy it, taxes and insurance is going to go up, a decent amount.
Yeah, for sure.
And so that'll drive it. That'll drive that up. So we'll keep it at 50% for now. And so we're getting an NOI of 220,000 basically. This OM is saying 260, which is not terribly far. So it's
That gives you what, 3.8?
the cap rate on this is 3.8.
Oh yeah, I see.
On this here. And so on the pro forma it says 4.5, but that's on actual, right? But we don't buy on actual. We don't buy on currents.
Now that 5, this also doesn't take into account any renovations or cost of entry, correct?
That's correct.
So that cap rate is going to drop even further.
So yeah, and this is purely cap rate on purchase and at purchase price, basically, right? And so we can add some more cost to that, and kind of get a year one operations returns on it as well.
And can I add one more thing? Whatever
Yeah.
your rehab budget is going to be, make sure you factor in knowing your market. Tenants are not coming out for nothing. Tenant, like Aldo's gonna be grinning while I say this, but the tenant laws are bad here. You're not getting tenants out easily, even if you have good reason to. I'm fighting a battle right now. That's why I'm kind of pushing away from LA, to be fair. But that's a key point in knowing your market. 2 things. One that was mentioned earlier, your taxes. Knowing how your taxes are going to get reassessed and what that's going to look like is very important because everywhere is different. I know how it is here because I live here. I own property here. I don't know every state, right? Insurance, like Aldo mentioned, it's different here compared to Florida. Everyone complains about it in Florida. It's not that bad here, but it is something to consider. And then the other thing is the tenant and the laws. Like, hey, we can rehab all 22 units. Cool, but if someone's been there since it was built, I don't care what you think you're going to do. You're not getting them out.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you too. I'm a bit tired of California, and I don't like the renter laws. And a lot of me wants to not buy here. The one big thing that's appealing is the fact that I can control the asset a bit closer, especially with having that construction background and having single family residences in Atlanta. And I say, hey, the tenant says, hey, there's an outlet not working. And then I get a vendor quote for $300, and I'm like, the part is $5. It's a 10-minute fix, but we know where to push the button, so it's that kind of stuff that pisses me off.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, man. And so that, I mean, that can either get better or worse with multifamily too.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but anyway, we're sitting here on a 3.8 on purchase, right? Off of this 5.7, right? And so another thing to consider is your debt. Have you thought about, or kind of have circling around what your debt would look like, whether it would be a recourse, non-recourse, agency or seller financing kind of thing?
Yeah, so I'm coming out of sub 2 with Pace Morby. So originally, once I found out that this lady owned it outright, I was just gonna skip tracer and then sneak attack her at a Starbucks. Hey, I'm your buyer.
Yeah, there you go.
So but again, it's one of those things where I got to get enough people who know what they're doing to back me. Go, yeah, if you could get it that way, this would be a great idea, and we could be your team.
Mhm.
Because for me to do this on my own, especially in LA, kind of like a volatile and toxic market, especially if you don't know what you're doing, would just be completely asinine. Plus,
Yeah.
someone selling something for 5.7 million dollars is not just going to go, yeah, sure, just write something up.
Yeah, right.
To be
Yeah.
fair though, you'd be surprised at the multifamily level how many more people understand the seller carry and the different ways that you can get creative and how
Yeah.
that structure works. Because I this is the running joke I had for a while. You don't wake up and stumble upon 20 units.
Yeah.
Like I hopefully, and don't get me wrong, there are people that do, lucky them, but for the most part, you get there by knowing some stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, and I bring this to you because my mind kind of twists. Like, man, I could do this, and if I could get enough people that think, yeah, let's handle this, I'll skip tracer and call her tomorrow. I know where she lives. I've already skip traced her.
There you go.
Knock on her door tonight. So, but I would just need enough people to go, yeah, you know what? And I got some lenders. We could seller finance this much, and let's put an LOI together. Let's do this. If I could get that and say, Brian, you'd be the PM, and here's the software, I'm game.
Mhm.
We'll talk about this deal more tomorrow. Let's finish this underwriting, but I'm
Yeah.
down to connect about this one because we can talk about this one in depth.
Yeah, and if
Yeah.
anything, I just use it as a learning experience for, like he's doing right now, how to underwrite, what do I look for? What are the pros and cons of this deal? I mean, and maybe I got to take a 3.8 as my very first deal just to get my feet wet. Not that I'd want to. I mean, the idea is to make money.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, the cap rate is already expanded on you at purchase. If your cap rates in LA, I probably around what, 4.5 right now?
4.5, yeah.
Yeah, so you're already at a loss there, but and Ed's gonna love this, but if you can get good terms on it, you can
Yeah.
you can cash flow well for a little bit, and there seems to be some upside on here at even at 5.7. And so that's the
Yeah.
other piece of this, right? If you're able to bring your average rents to $2,200, if that's true market and you can bring it to that, and I don't know if it's going to need some rehab in order to get there or not, or maybe you can do it right off the bat, then you can experience some of that. So so let's see, exit cap rate. So on the exit cap rate, typically what I do is 10 basis points a year basically, and so we're looking at a half a percent increase over purchase. But I think so this seems to be pretty, I mean, close to what you said there, and maybe get more conservative on that and go to 4.5, expand that a little bit. even on a B class, and you're looking at, if you can get it to stabilize on, off of this purchase price, you can get, about 700,000 out of it on the upside after paying that off. Now, that doesn't include rehab costs, of course, so you have to consider that.
What was your time frame on that?
5 years.
Oh, 5 years. Okay.
Yeah. So it could be more if you hold it for longer, great. You're getting all that cash flow, and you could, continue to drive rents, past where this is at, and then, sell it at more, get $1 million, that, you could probably do that around year 7 or 10, based on this. So deal debt. Yep. Absolutely. So, and so then, with this calculator, so that's the one thing we look at. This is going to give us what the cap rate is, based on this purchase price and NOI. And then I take this and I compare it to where our debt's at. So this is on the traditional side, this is a no-go all day long. You're negatively leveraged right off the bat, which means, you won't even be able to make your mortgage payments on this deal if you borrow that much.
Is that IO or P&I?
Either way. This is P&I, but even IO 6.5% of 5.7 million. You're cash.
100%. I agree.
So anyway, yeah. So it's just you're not going to cash flow. You're not going to cash flow year one. So you're going to have some reserves and some capital reserves. Now, if this was occupied like 15 units, and you can drive not only occupancy but rates as well, and your upside is high, it could be worth being under the first year, as long as you have a good plan and some good capital on your side to make that happen.
Now, what's the etiquette on, I would imagine it's very similar to single family residences, where you come in with an LOI that's a bit insulting. Is that standard? Say, well, you're asking 5.8, but here's the numbers. It doesn't pan out. How about 4?
So let me add something. This is where you would do a little more homework, and this is something where this is more common in multifamily. This has been on the market, at least on LoopNet, since March.
Yep.
Knowing that, and I was saying this a lot on yesterday's call, if something's been on LoopNet for a long time and nothing has changed in terms of what the seller's open to, what the outlook on the property is, in 6 months, 5 months, do you think enough people have seen it where they know they've seen it all? Like, we're not gonna see anything differently than them.
Yeah.
Not saying that there's no opportunity on LoopNet, especially if something's listed that long, but you can't go the traditional route. Like, hey, you have no debt, you want this money? Cool, I'll give it to you. You're not getting it today, though. That's the way I would approach this. Because you'd be surprised what someone's willing to take when the money's what they want. Because they feel like they still want the war. And the difference between this and a single family home or single family, it's a little more tricky, because the obstacle you always confront is, cool, where do I live and how do I afford the next home I'm going to live in? On the multifamily side, you don't care. You have your bases covered. You don't need to worry about where you're moving your money and where you're going to next. As long as you have what you want from this deal, the rest can go forward through passing it on to whoever you need to, if they're on the elderly side, or if they're worried that the timeline is too long. Cool, let's figure something out to make it work. So that's the route I would go off on this one right away.
Aldo, what happens if you amortize this over 40 years?
Depends on of course, the interest rate, but if you amortize over years, then your payment goes down by 20,000 a year. So it's not, tremendous, but on 22 units, it makes a difference. You cut your return loss by in half.
Yeah. And for shits and giggles, what about 50?
Hey, there you go. You're in terms, huh?
Well,
yeah, so it's still.
To be fair, what I would do on something like this is I would bet against interest rates. I would do like I'd pitch seller carry, obviously, but I wouldn't worry so much about amortization. I try to go IO off the bat.
Right.
Because I don't know what I'm getting these tenants out. Remember, this is assuming all goes well and you convert. Like you hit those 2,200 average rents. trust me, I know how it is. I'm dealing with a tenant right now. They haven't paid for 4 months. They've been in the unit for 4.5.
Jeez.
It's not fun, and there's a good chance the rents suck. So that in knowing the market, I would be much more conservative on that end.
Yeah, so you could go IL, or you could always go the route of like, here, you know, I can only pay this much a month from a cash flow standpoint, and then let's consider that interest payments on top of the 5.7, let's say, and then at the end I'll pay you 5.7 still, but I need to be able to reach this occupancy or you know, this amount in revenue and NOI for it to be valued at X amount so that I can get out on top as well and pay you the 5.7. So we both win at that point, because not only are they the bank, but they're also selling it, you know, at a super low cap rate based on the current market. So, you know, that's definitely a win-win there, potentially. So
All right,
anyway.
Edward. Well, I'll call you tomorrow, Edward, and yeah, I was gonna say we can brainstorm, but basically I'd just be listening to you.
Pretty much. That's how that goes anyway.
That's
So anyway, yeah. So good exercise, Brian. Thanks for bringing this along. And this is what's good about the Napkin underwriting process. You can run it through and get your brainstorming going to see the different options, and then you can get into the analyzer and really get in depth and see what your upside is really going to look like, and you know, based on the different ways that you finance it, or you know, how much you pay for it, etc. So yep, great.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Absolutely, man.
thanks for sharing.
Absolutely. Sorry, Pete, we didn't get to your deal, man. So, well, with that, folks, that's another Tuesday night. We're at 8:59 p.m. Like always, we try to leave right around the 9 o'clock time. And hope you guys got some value out of this. And good to meet you, Brian, and good to always meet new faces on here. And next time, bring another deal with you guys, and we can underwrite it and learn a little bit more about this process. And so with that, I'll leave you guys and have an awesome rest of your week.